For tonight's banquet. A very warm welcome to the 2020 Yusan Forum and this dinner banquet here. The Yusan Forum is a multifaceted platform where we bring together global leaders, policymakers, and opinion shapers to discuss ways to improve regional stability and prosperity, and to discuss how to connect Taiwan further and more closely with the rest of the world. Tonight, we are honored by the virtual presence of two internationally renowned speakers. To officially kickstart this banquet here, may I first invite the Foreign Affairs Minister, Dr. Joseph Wu, to say a few words, please.
Dr. Michael Shaw, Chairman of the TAEF, the Honorable Mr. Rasmussen, former Prime Minister of Denmark and former NATO Secretary General, Excellency Ambassadors and Honorable Representatives, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, good evening. It is my great honor to host the dinner tonight. On behalf of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, I want to thank all of you for your enthusiastic participation in this year's Yusan Forum. I would particularly like to thank Prime Minister Rasmussen, who is online right now, to take time to address the audience momentarily. Through Yusan Forum, we are able to bring our new southbound policy partners and beyond for a regular dialogue on issues of common concern. Through the dialogue, we are quite ambitious in a hope to shape a common vision for the region and beyond. Since the launch of our new southbound policy in 2016, we have made substantial progress in promoting regional economic collaboration, conducting talent exchanges, sharing resources, and forging regional links. The key principles of the policy, namely people-centric philosophy, mutual assistance for mutual benefit, and sustainable development, will continue to guide Taiwan in our relations with our partners in this region and around the world. This year has been a challenging one for all of us because of COVID-19. The traditional get-together for dialogue has to be limited, but we in Taiwan are still working hard to make the connect through video conferencing and other means. We share our success in containing the pandemic, and we also share our resources with our partners in the region. We want to contribute simply because it is the right thing to do. Taiwan has proven that it has much to offer to the rest of the world. We are grateful that many world leaders have joined us today through video or online, including former Australian Prime Minister Malcolm Turnbull, former Swedish Prime Minister Carl Bildt, member of the Japanese Diet Keiji Furua, U.S. Congressional Leader Ted Yoho, and many other political leaders from Indonesia, Thailand, the Philippines, and etc. I want to thank all of them for sharing their wisdom on important global issues. In addition, TAEF was able to sign an MOU through video conferencing with India's National Maritime Foundation for future cooperation. These couple of years have been troublesome for us as we see authoritarianism marching forward in Xinjiang, in Tibet, Mongolia, and Hong Kong, crushing the remaining freedom and cultural as well as religious identities. We also see tension rising in the East China Sea, Taiwan Strait, the South China Sea, and even along the Indian-Chinese border. With all of these happening, I want to repeat what I remarked last year in Copenhagen Democracy Summit at the invitation of Prime Minister Rasmussen. Taiwan and Hong Kong stand on the front line against the expansion of authoritarianism. But sadly, Hong Kong has fallen with the imposition of a draconian national security law. It is therefore more urgent than ever that we work together to safeguard the values that we hold dearly to our heart. And at this point, I would like to invite Prime Minister Rasmussen, an international icon for freedom and human rights, to give us his remarks. Ladies and gentlemen, let's give Prime Minister Rasmussen a round of applause to welcome him.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Foreign Minister Wu. Thank you for your kind introduction. It was a great pleasure to meet you at the Copenhagen Democracy Summit last year, and I hope that we soon will be able to meet physically again. It is indeed a great honor to be with you this evening at the Yushan Forum. It had been my intention to be with you in person, but sadly, the continuing COVID-19 crisis prevents it. However, I anticipate visiting Taiwan once the travel situation allows. And I'm greatly looking forward to seeing Taipei, and I hope to meet many of you all in person. I visited Taiwan 27 years ago as a member of the Danish Parliament. Already at that time, Taiwan was a vibrant society. Today, even more. And I'm longing to see firsthand all the progress you have achieved. Ladies and gentlemen, the past few months have opened Europe's eyes to the challenge that today's China brings. The blinkers of naivety have been lifted. And we have understood the danger China poses to our freedom and democracy. European leaders had hoped that over time, China would become more like Hong Kong. Our historical perspective reassured us that a growing middle class and more interaction with the West would spur demand inside China for more openness, self-determination, and freedom by the Chinese people. And I count myself among those who had once shared this perspective. But in recent years, China has not become more like Hong Kong. Under President Xi, Hong Kong has been forced to become more like China. The past decade has seen the United States disengage with Europe. First under President Obama's pivot to Asia, and then with President Trump's more transactional approach to geopolitics. As a result, Europe sought to find a middle ground between the great power rivals of China and the United States. But as Margaret Thatcher once said, standing in the middle of the road is very dangerous. You get knocked down by the traffic from both sides. Europe's openness to Chinese investment after 2008 resulted in China buying up strategic crown jewels. In short, some southern European states fell into China's debt trap diplomacy. Now, in the wake of the COVID crisis, we are acting to stop risky strategic investment and to prevent state-subsidized industries from having free rein in Europe's economy. We sought to work with Beijing to increase multilateralism on trade, the environment, and conflict resolution. While I believe we should always seek multilateral solutions, we have also watched on as China sought to rewrite the rules of multilateralism according to its interests. Sensing this challenge, about 18 months ago, the EU labeled China a systemic rival. It set out 10 action points for EU-China relations in the coming years. My consultancy, Rasmussen Global, carried out an audit of these actions. 1 year on, we found that only one of the 10 priorities had been delivered. And many of the priorities where the onus was on China actually regressed. So if we have few common values and we cannot advance common interests, the time has come for a new dynamic in our relations. And we should start by renewing Europe's relations with Taiwan. Over the past few years, Europe has been co-opted into China's campaign of isolation against Taiwan. China has sought to bully us and the rest of the world into accepting a new interpretation of the One China policy. Let me be clear. Europe has respected the One China policy. It is Beijing that has flouted it, not least with its aggressive campaign against Hong Kong. Because at no point does the One China policy prevent us from cultivating strong economic and political ties with Taipei. On the contrary. Yet, when a European politician, a European leader or official shows any support for Taiwan, he or she is subjected to a barrage of political pressure and threats from China. This needs to stop. Europe cannot say, we stand for democracy 1 second, and then give in to Chinese bullying the next second. And the road to a better, more equal relationship between Europe and China runs through Taiwan. And I have 3 proposals for where to begin. First, health cooperation. Second, economic cooperation. And third, Indo-Pacific cooperation among democracies. First, health cooperation. When the history books are written on the COVID-19 outbreak, Taiwan will deserve a chapter titled The Right Response to a Pandemic. Taiwan's combination of central control, big data, and lessons learned from SARS has been an example to the world. And Taipei has sought to help the world with life-saving supplies of medical and protective equipment. Europe benefited from this help, but we can also benefit from Taiwan's experience and expertise. Yet, Taiwan is shut out of the World Health Assembly, the main body for sharing this experience. In a time of global pandemic, this is indefensible. Europe must demand Taiwan's participation in the next World Health Assembly on the same basis as it participated until 2016. But the European Union can also build a stronger health partnership with Taiwan on a bilateral basis, and I urge European leaders to open a new health dialogue with Taipei. Second, economic cooperation. Europe and Taiwan are close economic partners, and the European Union is the largest source of foreign investment in Taiwan, with almost 49 billion euros in accumulated investments. Meanwhile, Taiwan has a cumulative foreign investment of almost 8 billion euro in the EU. Most of this was made during the past 5 years and has created more than 60,000 European jobs. The time, however, has come to give new impetus to an EU-Taiwan bilateral investment agreement, an agreement that will benefit both sides and create new economic opportunities. For example, this should increase the incentives for Taiwanese companies to come to Europe and invest even more. And as European businesses look for safer and more resilient Asian economies to deal with, a bilateral investment agreement would be a win-win. Talks have been put on ice by the European Commission as it sought to negotiate a similar agreement with China. But we cannot hold Taiwan hostage just because of the failures and foot-dragging by Beijing. We need to restart the track with Taiwan. Furthermore, as Europe seeks to be less dependent on China for new technology, we should look to Taiwan for answers. You are home to some of the largest and most innovative tech firms in the world, from semiconductors to developers of artificial intelligence, and some of the best tech talent. Europe needs like-minded partners to shape the next industrial revolution according to our democratic standards. And Taiwan has a significant role to play. Thirdly, our enhanced relations with Taiwan should form part of a wider engagement between the European Union and the democracies of the Indo-Pacific. In recent years, the EU has strengthened economic and political ties with democracies in the Asia-Pacific region. Europe and Japan are steadfast and like-minded allies. Our links continue to be deepened and strengthened through our economic and strategic partnership agreements and data flows adequacy deal. Likewise, as NATO Secretary General, Prime Minister Abe and I work closely to upgrade NATO-Japan cooperation. Overall, Europe has also sought to deepen its relations with other free market states in the Indo-Pacific: South Korea, Vietnam, Singapore, Australia, and New Zealand. Now, we should build on these piecemeal efforts by drafting a comprehensive EU strategy for the Indo-Pacific to counterbalance China and strengthen our economic and political ties with our partners. It should start with a simple premise: strengthening the global alliance of democracies and free market states, including Taiwan. Because by strengthening the force of democracy abroad, we strengthen these forces at home. Democratic unity is the most potent weapon we can build against autocracy. Europe and our Indo-Pacific democratic friends may be geographically distant, but our values are close. Let's align our interests to match. My friends, Taiwan stands on the front line of freedom against the increasing autocracy and aggression from Beijing. That is why, as a lover of freedom and democracy, I have taken this decision to stand with you. Taiwan's success is freedom's success. And by standing with Taiwan, we stand with the forces of freedom and democracy. It's time for Europe to stand with Taiwan. Thank you.
Thank you, Prime Minister. I understand you've got a hectic schedule ahead of you, but before you go, ladies and gentlemen, maybe another big round of applause for Prime Minister Rasmussen, please. Thank you, Prime Minister. Now, the next speaker that I'm privileged to introduce is the U.S. Congressman Ted Yoho, ranking member of the Asia Subcommittee of the House Foreign Affairs Committee. Congressman Ted Yoho has most recently introduced the Taiwan Invasion Prevention Act and the Taiwan Fellowship Act. As a vocal, long-time supporter of Taiwan and the democratic values that it represents, Congressman Yoho has sponsored and co-sponsored over the years a host of bills and resolutions in favor of building stronger ties between Taiwan and the U.S. across the board. Regrettably, Congressman Yoho couldn't be with us tonight, but he has very graciously pre-recorded a message for this Yusan Forum. Let's take a look at the video.
Hi, I'm Congressman Ted Yoho from Florida. Thank you for allowing me to join you briefly today. It's great to speak to all of you who share expertise in working together to build a better and brighter future for all of Asia. The potential for this region is unlimited. As reflected in your forum's name, the Yoshan Forum, Yoshan means Mount Jade, which is the tallest summit in East Asia. Yoshan is a Taiwanese symbol for aspiration of excellence as well as warm friendships towards people from the surrounding nations. The inaugural Yoshan Forum in 2017 focused on the economy, trade, human resources, technological innovation, NGO engagement, think tanks, collaboration, and youth dialogue. Discussion on these topics and the new conclusions they promote are essential investments for the future prosperity of your nations. You also are building the leaders of tomorrow that will benefit and lead a stronger and brighter tomorrow for the next generation. For that to happen, a nation, a region, needs certainty of the future, which requires rule of law, regional peace, and stability, honor, respect for oneself and for others. In business, I learned people choose to do business with those they know, like, and trust. This also applies to nations as well. Unfortunately, the region and a large portion of the world are under a lot of challenges, stress, and uncertainty. Some of this comes from nature, some from man, and some from nations controlled by man. The COVID pandemic, which originated in Wuhan, China, has thrown all economies worldwide into a tailspin of uncertainty. In addition, no one doubts the world domination ambitions of China, as illustrated in their aggressions around the globe, but particularly in the East and South China Sea. China has even engaged some of your nations through various means, through the BRI incentives, and maybe even in bribes, coercion, or intimidation, to break ties with Taiwan or to not participate in this dialogue. In fact, China tried to get me not to meet with Taiwan when I first became chairman of the Asia-Pacific Committee on Foreign Affairs. I told them thanks for your advice, but I wasn't looking for it. I met with Taiwan and have continued to do since. Let me reiterate two things. Number one, people choose to do business with those they know, like, and trust. Number two, the potential for this region is unlimited. On behalf of myself and my colleagues in the United States Congress, we're not interested in economic intimidation or debt trap diplomacy like some other nations to create enslaved nations or crush opposition, competition, or your people's future aspirations. We are committed to the rule of law, free trade, peace, and honoring and respecting a nation and its citizens' sovereignty. The United States stands ready and willing to work with your nations towards ensuring a more stable and economically prosperous Indo-Pacific region, and we are committed to standing against powers that would undermine those ideals for the benefit at the expense of yours or another nation. May this dialogue serve the region well, with the smart and innovative people here working together to make a more stable, prosperous, and brighter future so you can achieve that unlimited potential. Again, thank you.
And thank you, Congressman Yoho. Now, may I invite Minister Wu and Chairman Michael Hsiao to come up to the front to make a toast, please. To Yusan Forum 2020 and to the best of health of everybody. Cheers. Thank you everybody. Thank you Minister, thank you Chairman Hsiao. This would be the end of all the speeches for tonight. Please enjoy the rest of your evening. Thank you.